is absolutely happening in this film. The filmmaker, Joris-Peyrafitte, made a terrific short called As a Friend that this film is based on. But this is his feature directorial debut. He wrote this film, he directed it, and he's here with us tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, Miles Joris.
So thank you everyone for coming. This is really a deeply crazy experience for all of us who are a part of this. We wrapped shooting on October 10th and didn't think we would get in the festival even if we hadn't finished that late. So to be here is really, really fantastic. So obviously, as I was saying, I want to thank everybody who's here, who was a part of the film. It's like, there's a lot of us. So thank you guys, and I really hope you enjoy the film. We worked really hard on it.
And just a couple things, Miles, what we got.
Hi everyone, I'm Lauren Chaffee, an Associate Documentary Programmer at the festival. Please join me in welcoming back to the front filmmaker Dylan Reeves and David Ferrier.
Hello, thanks for coming.
I'll go start it out with the first question. What was the biggest challenge of translating this complex investigation into the medium of film, most of which took place through the space of the internet?
Yeah, the fact it all took place online was a bit of a nightmare because it was so much, it was all just messages and emails flying back and forth. So I think telling that visually was just lots of images of me and Dylan driving around. All emails flew back and forth.
The story also started a little bit before we started filming, which made it a bit difficult because we had to kind of quickly get up and going when we weren't quite prepared. I think things took off a little quicker than we imagined they would.
Yeah, when they said they were flying 3 people from New York to New Zealand, we knew stuff was getting real then, and we should probably start filming what was happening. Because until then it was legal letters, and I still didn't know what it was. I thought it was maybe a print article or a little item or something. So, but when they decided to send 3 people over, which was super strange, it was really odd. It was the weirdest airport pickup I've ever done. Yeah.
Cool. Any questions in the audience? Right
there?
there?
Yeah, what is the time span from when you first found the video to that sad stepmother conversation?
That first Facebook message was April 2014, and we left the US after the bulk of our shooting in January 2015. So that whole story took place reasonably quickly.
It was 2 trips over to the States to kind of sort things out, and yeah, things shifted a lot and changed a lot, but I think we got it across to them, I think, did we?
Right. There's still things we don't know. There's questions we don't have answered that maybe the answers will become apparent now. But.
Is David D'Amato here, by the way?
There's a chance we thought he might be.
Yeah, we thought he might be. Is he here?
Or anyone who knows him? Anyone who's been sent by him?
No, there's a high likelihood that someone in the audience has been sent by him, because that's what he does. He hires people and he sends them to do stuff for him. He's got a lot of money. All his interests are one thing, tickling, and harassing people. So there's a high chance this probably is someone that he knows or has corresponded with here because he wants to know what's in the film, and then we may or may not hear from him. We'll find out soon.
For example, at the end of the film, we find all those documents, which really went down the way it's showed. It was insane. But as far as we know, he doesn't know we have those documents.
Yeah, and I mean, it was mad. I mean, it was literally, there's 300 websites. We went through all 300 just to see what was there. And a lot of them were dead links, a lot of them were just various tickling sites or harassment sites or that sort of thing. And then one of them would just literally have my documents. And then it wasn't always open, but at one stage it was open.
We could always see the list of the files. They were always there tantalizing us, but we'd click on them and they'd say no. And then one day we clicked on them and it opened. and then we quickly downloaded all of them because we didn't know when they were happening.
It's crazy. I mean, it was, I don't know if you'd switched servers or what had gone on, but like those documents are physically indexable on Google. You could Google a document and it would pop up in a browser. And so we just grabbed them all, and yeah.
Any other questions? Yeah, go ahead. Right.
Has the FBI seen these documents? Have you shared them with law enforcement?
No one has seen this yet. The problem is nothing he's doing, at least as far as we can tell, is specifically illegal. There are some laws that cover harassment, but the people, as far as we've been able to determine, the people who are being harassed would need to make a complaint, and it's pretty hard to find the right people to take that stuff seriously or to investigate. So no is the answer. We did try and reach out. We did try and reach out earlier in our production to the FBI. We tried to get an interview with the people who had been involved the first time around, but they weren't interested in talking to us or even really listening to us.
I like to think they will be now. I mean, he's advising people to come in on tourist visas, and he's paying
them cash.
There's issues there, so we'll see what happens really. But the idea of making this documentary was hopefully to get this out in the world. So if there's some kid there who's thinking I could do with an extra $2,000, let's go tickling, they maybe go, maybe we shouldn't do this.
Possibly right now. It's Sunday, isn't it? So very possibly right now they are in Aruba doing another tickling shoot. That was what they advertised on their Facebook page most recently.
They were in Australia about a month ago.
They've been in Europe recently. They're still tickling.
Go ahead.
I have about 1 million questions, but did you ever find out what the relationship was between those 3 people they sent to New Zealand?
I can explain who they all are. The tall guy, the tall grey-haired guy, Kevin. He is essentially the producer of the videos in Los Angeles. So he runs the shoots. He's the contact guy. Marco is the photographer. So he is a photographer. He shoots stills and video at the tickling events. And the other guy, Adam, is a former participant and is now essentially a PA. So they said they'd send management from Jan O'Brien Media, and those were the 3 guys they sent. And that they basically, we've shortened the conversation, but that whole conversation that we had with them and subsequent conversations, the thrust of it all was making the film's a bad idea and it will cost you financially.
But they obviously have some more of an understanding or some sort of trust.
There was no big debate about how much they knew about the logistics of who this guy was, and if they thought they were working with Jane, or it was just a guy but not that bad, and to be honest, I'm still a little blurry on it. I think Marco, whilst quite threatening, the calm sort of guy, calm guy, I think he thinks it's all probably fine. I think Kevin probably knows a bit more.
And Adam probably is just along for the ride.
Yeah, free trip to New Zealand, like, why would you not?
They flew first class and spent, I think, 5 nights in a 5-star hotel. So
They had a great time. They had a great time in Hobbiton, one of our main tourist destinations.
Other questions? Right in front.
One of the hardest things in a film like this is getting a balance right between the humor and the horror. I'm just wondering, as you're putting the story together, how you set that balance. But more importantly, when you're doing a film like this, you never know where it's going to end up.
Sure.
I just want to add that the challenge, which is a really interesting question, this is the first time that I've seen the film, which it is unbelievable, and performances are all what was so interesting doing the film was there was a title of As You Are, which always kind of confused me. I mean, I didn't really know the Kurt Cobain song, and it never really occurred to me that it really had... No. Lawrence Welk was my I'm just but what we've been talking about actually all week, and congratulating Miles and talking about how wonderful a director he was, and how when we came to set, it was really kind of just a very fluid thing, and really kind of, he created an environment where there was no judgment. And it occurred to me as I was watching this that we really all were, there was no judgment on character, and every character was so present and so real and so true, and that really became the challenge of when I was not even knowing that I was doing it then, but the challenge became about being present, and that there was no judgment on what Tom was about, which was pretty desperate and horrible. But he had no judgment on it, so then I could have no judgment on it, which made it more interesting to play. Yeah.
Another challenge, I think, of the story is often when you do a coming-of-age story, I think the perspective of the kids on the parents is those assholes, or, you know, like, wah, 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 the peanuts. And in this case, I felt like you both made characters that were striving and failing, but striving to be human. And where there were places where, like, let's make sure these people are three-dimensional. You know, Miles was extremely open to that collaboration, and also created such an atmosphere of safety for everyone that I think it was, there was no separation behind and in front of the camera. The whole crew was the cast. Everybody was really one, telling the same story, and that's just great. It's the most awesome place to be, so.
Yeah, there's a gentleman, but
what camera did you shoot it on? What anamorphic lenses did you use? And what are the next steps for the film?
I heard, what camera did you shoot it on?
I was the cinematographer who shot on the. We shot on the 6K, so lots of resolution, and we found these beautiful old Hawk anamorphic lenses from the early 90s when the film was set. Just like the video camera, as well as a high-8 camera from '93. The lenses were from the early 90s. So yeah, we wanted that softer quality. You know, we didn't want it to be too clean, and we just liked the way that it feels like the lenses have a lot of nice emotion to them, which lend themselves to the memories of the characters and the flashbacks. What was there a third question?
Oh, what are the next steps for the film?
If there's buyers in the room, I think I can answer that question myself.
Where are you guys at in the post-production process?
Well, now, you know, I feel like this has been. No, there's a lot of. What's next is very difficult to answer because obviously everyone comes here with that dream that everyone has. For me, and I think for the rest of us, being here and having a Sundance audience here, and being able to like consider ourselves part of that community in a way is literally more than I could ever ask for. So I'm trying not to get too greedy. That said, if you know someone.
Sure. And the guy with the hat.
How you doing? Love the movie. Met y'all a few days ago.
Oh yeah, yeah.
What's up, man? So I have like a three-part question for you. I'm trying to make it short. I have like one question for you too. So my first question for you, did y'all actually shoot on VHS? Second question is, why did y'all decide to make Sarah's parents? I'm assuming they're both white, but obviously she's biracial. And third question is, describe what the movie meant for like people who are maybe trying to figure out their sexual identity. Because obviously two characters, you can't really put them in the box. You can't really say, oh, they're homosexual, or oh, they're bisexual. They're just trying to discover their identity. So how do you feel like the film describes sexual identity? And for a man, with this movie inspired you to reveal what you did to the public about a month ago. I'm not gonna say that loud, but so.
Yeah, those are great questions, and it's a lot. Yeah, do you want to? You recap them?
What was the first one?
The first one?
Oh yeah, that is. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just it was a high-8 camera.
Okay.
So like from that era, kind of like VHS, but before digital. So all that weird artifacts, we like that stuff, and yeah, every time you played it back, it got a little worse. The editors are freaking out.
Which just, you know, I think it's worth saying because Caleb was like incredibly, when we started talking about the film, I was very scared to bring up the fact that I wanted to try and shoot all the interrogation stuff on high 8, because I'd seen his stuff and it was so beautiful and so rich and everything. And then the more we started talking about it, the more that kind of, we realized that that was a tool for us of telling the story that was moving through time and moving through characters' perspectives on things, was actually being able to change aspect ratio and being able to jump, you know, vertically and really change the space that they're in.
And the second question was about the choice for Sarah's parents.
Is that for me or for him?
That's for you, because you.
Sort of the choice behind that was sort of trying to find, you know, there's a part in the movie when the detective asks, you know, why do you hang out with these kids? And that was something that, writing it, I was sort of thinking about, like, what's this thing that you know, makes her feel different? And I thought that the idea of her being adopted could create this sense of
that they're living in a place and a culture, you know, 90s in upstate New York, not the most progressive place, a little bit uncomfortable. But what that's kind of coming out of is this like Reaganification, you know, this like reinstallment of family values and of pastels and all these things, where masculinity is determined by strength and by all of these kind of archetypes, and you know, and for
Going hunting,
yeah, all these kinds of things, and that's where they find themselves at the center of, you know. And for me, and I think Madison, and I think most of us who worked on this film, it's not a story about a kid who's struggling with being gay, or another kid who just realizes he's straight, or any of those things. It's really about kids not having the room to discover those things for themselves and what that can lead to. So that it was a very conscious choice, and every step of the way we were trying to make sure that we weren't pushing the audience too much in one direction and making assumptions about them.
So sadly, I've been told that we're out of time, but before we do wrap it up, I'm just wondering if you have anything you want to say to finalize this.
So thank you so much.